reason I'm coming to the event is because virtual is here to stay, and it is the best platform to really connect people across this global landscape that we find ourselves, that we have invented up until this point. Companies have already decided, already figured out that rather than having two main conferences where they fly everybody in, they can have one big conference, and they can have multiple regional trainings and regional conferences, all through video, all virtual. So many economic, human factors make it here to stay. And so why not get good at it? Why not why not practice?
I'm so excited to speak to you about why I believe there's no better tool to use than humor when it comes to engaging your audience in this virtual environment. There are normally two things that people say to me when I suggest that they add some humor to their online presentations. Firstly, they'll say they don't think their talk can have any humor because the subject matter is too serious or too emotional or even too boring. Yes, some people think their speech is too boring to have humor anywhere near it. And the second thing they'll say is that they'd love to add humor, but they can't. They just don't know where to start, or maybe they've tried and failed. Nobody laughed. So in my talk, Help, I'm Not Funny, I'll be addressing both those issues. I'll talk about why I think we can and should add humor to any talk, no matter how serious or boring.
Yeah, so we all know presenting in the virtual world is a big shift from those of us who like to be on big stages in front of thousands of people. Now we're just doing it with lots of Brady Bunch eyes staring right back at us. The way of engaging those eyeballs over the course of time, some of us are converting one-day workshops now into 90-minute segments, right? And holding the attention of the adult listener and learner really involves a lot of new techniques. So I know some of my fellow speakers are going to talk about lighting and setup and all the cool production value things. But for me, my heart lies with storytelling. And that relies on engaging some of the neuroscience involved with holding people's attention, generating real emotion through this medium of Zoom, and allowing people to walk away with a message that not only can they hold on to, but they can repeat and share with others. And that's the critical factor of coming away from a virtual event, is not only does your content live in the moment with people, but how will you inspire them to actually remember it and share it?
What I want to help people think through is, what are the unique opportunities that I should seek to fulfill when I am delivering my leadership or demonstrating the value of content that I have virtually. So this has been really important to me as a member of Gartner's Insight team. Just this last week, I did a session with a state department, so a department in a United States government. And, they said, do you want to come down? It wasn't a choice, right? I didn't have that option. I could, my organization is currently limiting travel very substantially for many different reasons. And so I said, well, I can't be there, but I'm going to send you a form ahead of the call. It's going to include some questions in it where I'm going to share data during our call, and you can compare the answers that emerge from this call to the answers that we got from other respondents. And we're going to do an online workshop while we go through this process, where I'm going to lead you through an effort to determine what use cases would be correct for a particular sophisticated kind of technology. And all of that is going to feel different because we're doing it virtually. So we're going to truly have a flattened hierarchy. No one is going to be sitting at the head of the table. We're going to be able to use electronic documentation in a way that we could not otherwise do. And then we're going to deliver results back to you, including insights into your fellows' perspectives that would have been much harder to accomplish in person.
what's the strength of this medium. I can go as far back as I want to. I could come right up and have an intimate conversation with every single person in the audience. I even asked the judges one time, we were going forward, I said, what part, I'm sorry, I asked the chief judge, that's right, I was saying in our briefing, I said, what part of my body has to be in frame? And does any part of my body be in frame? And no one had asked that question. And they were saying, well, you have to at least, I said, is this okay? Can I just have nothing? And they said, no, it's not the rule book, but no. So I said, well, how about this? Is that okay? And they said, oh, well, yeah. Okay. If you have some of your body. And so that's part of the reason why when I came to the side and it's the sheriff poos that big heavy door, at least right. My fingers are in the frame. But
yeah, it would have been a shame if your fingers slipped. It'd be like a footfall.
I know.
And that's what we want to do, is just help you elevate your virtual presence, right? How to really level up what you're doing virtually. So I'm going to be talking about elevating your back end, how to not do it all alone for your conference, for your webinar, for your summit, for whatever virtual event that you are hosting or you're thinking about hosting, right?
Well, the biggest thing I always tell people is, who are you? Who are you first? Understanding who you are. And you're probably saying, well, I know who I am, but you know what? Other people don't. And you have to persuade them when you get on social media. And I always tell people social media is social, separated social, and it's just on media. So you're just creating those relationships. And when I come to do my presentation, I want to dig a little bit deeper and show you some little strategies, on how to really conquer that and be more a relationship person, more so than I just need to post here. I got to throw this post over here and hopefully somebody will like me, hug me, or whatever that's on social media. So that's basically I'm going to work, because it's all about the strategy of it, be it if it's a personal way, how you're doing it, or in a business life.
I told you a little bit about the webinar contest that we're doing, which is sort of like the contest where you had your chance to excel. But the rules are tweaked a little bit to specifically look at, are you able to create engagement in an online speech? Which
I think is great.
Because you are speaking through this piece of glass, and there are all these barriers in place. One of the things is we have somebody assigned to be a chat monitor to keep track of things that people might post into the chat, so that you don't have to do that, multitask quite that much. But people do have license to use a green screen or to use fancy Prezi techniques. And I am trying to tell people too that it's not that you should do these things, it's just that you have permission to do them. We're not pretending that it's a speech that was meant to be given on stage and we just happen to be recording it. This is your speech that you designed to be wonderful and effective online. Do you have any advice for the people who would be competing in that about how they should craft it, how they should think through the process?
Yes. Take risks. If David Carr has told you you can do X, do 2X. anything that anywhere your imagination can go, try it, because I did not believe that I could win the World Championship of Public Speaking that year for a number of reasons. Other people in the contest, where I fell in the contest. And so what I was just trying to do was to create a video that I could use for industry that said something, that really said something into the world. And that was it, because I knew that I was not going to win. And so I took risks. And it was that very thing that judges and everyone else came back and said, oh my goodness, that was the differentiator.